To bringing Jesus back into focus. This is the Gospels of Jesus Unplugged, a new translation of the Gospels of Jesus in his life, much clearer without any Jewish overlays or distortions or apocalyptic rubbish. It's all about his transformational words that help you awaken and become spiritual now while we're in this dangerous earth world and in a body of flesh that dies, rots and stinks and is food for the vultures, as Jesus said himself. And he said, you've got another body with you that's spiritual, and that's the one that leaves. That will go back to the source of its spiritual creation, which is a spiritual world and a divine, loving, spiritual consciousness or mind of love. Our spiritual body, you, who you are, now on earth, the way you've lived, you're that person. You, in that spiritual identity, will go back. Now the trouble is, have you been living out of a false, warmongering, filthy, stinking, satanic identity? Like Netanyahu, Putin, the Israeli army, Hamas, the Russian army, Ukraine, Iran. They're all stinking, filthy, dark shadow figures, and none of them are in their spiritual bodies anymore. They're living out of a stinking filth surrounding their beautiful spiritual bodies of love. But they've rejected that life in heaven, and now they're all going to hell. Now the trouble is, hell is a place of burning realisations. So they'll undergo every single death they've caused. That's just the way it is. Buddha taught it and Jesus taught it also. Now, for the rest of us who are interested in going to heaven, we can't stop these satanic children from murdering and killing. It's very difficult because we're children of peace and love. So we can't pick up a gun, a tank or a drone and blow their bodies to pieces. We can't do that. If we did that, we'd be sending them straight to hell anyway and robbing them of any chance of repenting and saying sorry to the world and all the children they've murdered and killed, and sorry to the loving spiritual creator of their spiritual, beautiful spiritual body inside themselves. So we can't do that. So we have to just warn them, you're going to hell, stop doing what you're doing, it's evil. We demonstrate against the armaments industry in the world. We try to stop governments buying armaments, selling armaments. We don't want anything to do with the military in any shape or form. Always, every country needs a border patrol or coast guard or police force within your own country. That's just normal. There are children who go run amok and are criminals and commit murder and such things, but that's a very small scale, localised police force or policing coast guard or border patrol to help prevent criminals and people doing evil things on a local level. We have to wipe out the armaments industry, and all soldiers have to go back home and just don't join any army anywhere in the world. That's my advice. So I wrote the Gospels of Jesus Unplugged because of the slander that many of the Jewish Christian churches are speaking about him. I was quite shocked to hear how bad things are these days, because I left the Jewish Christian church, the Jewish Christian Catholic Church, when I was 17 or 16, because the Jewish Christian Catholic Church were teaching this lie that the Jews have one God and it's the same God as Jesus in the New Testament. And I said, no, obviously it's not. Wake up, why are you saying that? And they didn't bang on about the book of Revelation like some of these Jewish Christian churches do. I'll give them that credit, the Catholic Church. I hardly ever hear them mention it, which is great. But they still have it there. They still believe in it. And one Catholic priest I knew, he was going back to Rome to study it. And I thought, well, what a bloody waste of time and airfare that is. Go and study the greatest cryptic crossword that slanders Jesus and the loving creator. Why are you going to waste your time doing that? Rip the book of Revelation out and burn it. That's my advice. If you want to follow Jesus, it's a very dangerous book and it'll lead you back to worship the two-headed God of the Jews, Yahweh. Remember, the Jewish religion is not monotheistic, it's dualistic. They worship two opposing gods. A filthy, stinking war god, the same as Mars, Ares and Sekhmet, of other religions, of the Egyptians, Greeks and Romans. The same brutal, murdering, genocidal, thieving bastard. And then they've got a god of love, the same as the Roman god Pax. Irene was the Greek god of peace and love, you know. And the Egyptians had a calming god as well. They're different forces, different gods. But they were honest, the Romans, Greeks and the Egyptians had different temples, different god, different name. The Jews are cunning and deceiving. They said, let's call our loving God the same God as our violent, brutal, murdering God. Then we can kill and murder and love, and God loves us. Satan loves you when you kill and murder. Wake up. Jesus taught we can all experience an inner spiritual awakening if we search for it. He called this the treasure hidden in the field of earth or flesh. This is our eternal spiritual identity, empowered only by the loving spiritual life force of our loving spiritual creator. Our bodies of flesh are only temporary and empowered by earthly things, and all flesh dies. Only our spiritual body and soul mind of love lives on to come into the presence of our loving creator to reap as we have sown. His teachings and spiritual way of love and non-violence can help awaken us all into a new spiritual life here on earth, leading us to the heavenly spiritual world of love after death. Jesus taught we all have two different bodies with us in one, and he said that the spiritual body, being eternal, is the most important to be healthy and well in spirit. He provides us with the spiritual instructions to follow and become at one with, to be awakened and transformed into spiritual children of light of our loving spiritual creator in heaven. We then help other children awaken to become spiritual and brings peace and heavenly love to earth for all in need. These translations of the Gospels of Jesus remove the Jewish overlays and distortions placed over the universal teachings of Jesus and spiritual way of non-violence and love. Our mortal minds change from being dualistic into singular minds viewing all things through the eye of love. Jesus said, if your eye is single, you will be filled with light, but if dualistic and divided, you will be filled with darkness. Jesus said not to mix his new spiritual way of understanding our loving Creator with the Old Testament dualistic God of the Jews, or you will lose the understanding of the one true loving spiritual Creator of our spiritual lives and not realize who you really are as her spiritual children of only love on earth. These Gospels help focus his message of the loving way to reach the heavenly spiritual world from earth. So it's available on the 11th of March. Hopefully, if I can get the cover, I haven't been in trouble with the cover with the publisher, but I've resubmitted it, so hopefully it'll be available, published on the 11th of March 2026. We're up to reading chapter 9, the Beatitudes, so we'll just have a pardon me, I've got a bit of a problem with my lung. It's got some fungus growing in it. It's a bit poisonous, but not to worry. It's only physical. Chapter 9, the Beatitudes. Matthew 5, 3, 12 and Luke 6, 20, 23. Now these sayings are grouped into just one chapter because a lot of people turn to the Beatitudes to sort of have a better, clearer understanding of this pure, loving sort of teaching of Jesus. And it's in the Beatitudes where he actually, or in the Sermon on the Mount, he certainly describes the loving spiritual creator as being only love. Her love shines or rises on the good and the evil. Her love is like the rain that falls on the just and the unjust. She's kind to the ungrateful and the evil. So, and then he says, if your love isn't as perfect as her love, the loving creator's love, God's love, or his love, if you use the Jewish father, male sort of patriarchal identity pronoun, this divine being who, beyond gender, who's created your spiritual body, which is like an angel's body anyway, so it has no gender. But once we're there, the thing is, he or she is only love. He said, unless your love is as perfect as her love, you're not entering her world. Well, that makes perfect logical sense, doesn't it? If the loving spiritual creator is only love, if heaven is a place of only love, if all the children who live there now are only filled with love and nothing else, well, how do I get there from earth? I have to become only love. But this is a dangerous world. People are going to hurt you. Well, how are you going to deal with that? I'll follow what Jesus said to do. I'll forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. They're lost in a shadow figure, ego, or even a false satanic figure. They don't even know who they are. They're not even getting into heaven when they die. They can't. I feel sorry for them. I have compassion for them. I forgive them. Oh, but that's crazy. What if they kill your body? It's going to die anyway. Jesus said that. Don't worry about your body of flesh too much. Don't worry about anyone who can kill your body. He actually said that. Your body of flesh is just food for the vultures. He said, make sure your spiritual body is alive and well, because that's the one that's going to leave. And if it's not filled with the loving spiritual life force from heaven, it's not alive. And if you've covered it in dark, stinking filth, well, you've got to cross over the river of reaping what you sow, and you'll be washed downstream to be cleansed. And you won't like it. It'll be too late to say sorry. So I just follow his way to heaven. I mean, I hope to heaven. My mother was a saint. I'm only the son of a saint. But she had what I call intelligent faith. Beautiful. I miss her greatly. She lived to 101, and she was a living example of Jesus on earth. She understood this as an intelligent, spiritual, logical way to move through this temporary material of suffering, of earth and body of flesh, and move out of it to a better world. But she understood you must follow this straight and narrow way. And it's beautiful to follow. She was the most selfless human being I've ever known, with intelligent and beautiful faith. We used to discuss this. She was my closest friend in discussing these teachings of Jesus. She understood as I understood. She wasn't interested in the Jewish religion or the book of Revelation. That was just toilet paper to her, the book of Revelation. That was it. And I agree with it totally. It's just garbage. So she had the understanding that Jesus had. There's another world that you've got to love to get there. And you've got to do it now, even though it's hard, even though it's challenging. But you can do it if you apply yourself and have deep belief in life after death, deep belief in the heavenly world of love, and you will be there if you stand strong in love and non-violence right now. And every child in the world has to do it now. Every soldier in the army has to get out of those stinking evil bloody military forces. Don't get in them. Just get out of them. Don't support them. Local police force, yes. Border Coast Guard patrols, yes. We have to deal with local criminals, yes. Murderers, whatever, gangsters, thieves, yes. Local police force, local Coast Guard, yes. Border guards, yes. But not armies of the world. That has to end. That has to come to an end. We can see these are just satanic children. The armaments industry is just a satanic industry. They're all working for a satanic consciousness of dark, filthy, stinking evil. None of them are going to heaven. All going to hell. All I can do is warn them, that's all. So we'll read the Beatitudes because Jesus gives us a blessed sort of way of thinking about your life. Even though we're in a dangerous world, you can be blessed, as he says here. So we'll read them. Blessed are the materially poor, for in spirit yours is the kingdom of the heavenly spiritual world. That alone is a beautiful saying. He says rich people hardly ever get into heaven. They worship money, greed, that sort of thing. Here he's saying, blessed are the materially poor. How could a poor person be blessed? Well, they've got no money. They've got no wealth. They can't worship wealth. They haven't got any. For in spirit, yours is the kingdom of the heavenly spiritual world. All they've got is belief in another world better than this because they're so impoverished. So they're, in a way, blessed. Hopefully, though, the greedy would share something with them, but greedy people don't do that. Blessed are you that mourn, for you shall be comforted. Blessed are you that weep now, for you shall laugh. But woe to you who laugh now, for you shall mourn and weep. Blessed are you meek, for you shall inherit the earth. Blessed are you who do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for you shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for you shall receive mercy. Blessed are you, the pure in heart, for you shall see the loving spiritual Creator. Blessed are you, the peacemakers, for you shall be called the spiritual children of our loving spiritual Creator in the heavenly spiritual world. Blessed are you who are persecuted for righteousness' sake. Yours is the kingdom of the heavenly spiritual world. Blessed are you when men shall persecute you, expel you and revile you, and shall falsely slander all manner of evil against you, because you are following my spiritual way. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in the heavenly spiritual world, for the good prophets were also persecuted in this way. But woe to you when all men who worship material things highly praise you, for so did other such men praise the false, lying prophets of old. Thomas, saying 77, blessed are those who have heard the word of our loving spiritual Creator and kept it. Thomas, 69, blessed are those who have been persecuted in their hearts and minds. They truly have come to know the love that the loving spiritual Creator has for them. Blessed are those who are hungry and searching, so the belly of he who desires may be satisfied. Thomas 68. Blessed are you when they hate and persecute you here in this world, but they will never come anywhere near the place within themselves where you are living in spirit, with the loving spiritual Creator in the heavenly spiritual world. So Jesus is saying these false murdering identities in the world that we have now, the satanic children of the warmongers, they're nowhere near their spiritual body inside themselves. So even though they might hate and persecute innocent children and murder them, they can't come anywhere near where these innocent children who are hopefully beautiful and filled with love inside their spiritual body ready to go to heaven. These filthy, stinking, murdering warmongers in the world today can't come anywhere near that, anywhere near you in heaven. They can't get near you anymore. They can't hurt you anymore once they kill you. They're going to hell. Thomas 58. Blessed is the one who is troubled in this world. He will find true life. Blessed are those who are at one and chosen. You will find the heavenly spiritual world. Jesus said, blessed is one who came to life before coming to life. These Thomas sayings are saying the one who wakes up to be a spiritual child of heaven now, before coming into heaven, you're blessed. You've understood the answer of Jesus' words. Wake up and be a spiritual child of love and non-violence now. You're blessed now before coming into heaven. That's what he's saying there. And blessed are those who are at one and chosen. You'll be in the heavenly spiritual world. You'll find it. He often talks about becoming at one. If your eyes single, you'll be filled with light, at one with light. Perfect equanimity towards all children in the world. We don't hurt anyone. We want everyone to come to heaven, even the satanic warmongers. It's hard for us to get them out of the stinking, hellish filth they've created of their own stinking satanic identity. They themselves have to come out of it. We can't bring them out of it. We can only try to help them come out of it. But we love them as much as anyone, in the sense that we want to save them from going to hell. And to do that, I have to become at one with the loving Creator's loving life force, because then, if I don't, I could end up picking a gun and killing them, because they're killing someone, so I'll kill them. And then on it goes. Then I've killed them, then someone else kills me. And on it goes, and on it goes, and you're all going to hell. So we don't do that. We become at one with love. Thomas 18. Blessed is the one who stands at the beginning. That one will know the end and will not taste death. Stand at the beginning of what? What is Jesus saying? Blessed is the one who stands at the beginning. That one will know the end and will not taste death. If you are born again as a spiritual child on earth, you've begun your spiritual life, and your physical identity is sort of secondary. It's ended. The biological identity now becomes secondary. So he's saying, if you awaken as I did into your spiritual identity and your spiritual body comes alive now, that's the beginning of your spiritual life in heaven, but it starts even right here on earth before your physical body dies. So you're standing at the beginning of your new life in heaven right now, because you're awoken to becoming at one with love and non-violence, and your spiritual mind opens and it's clean, and you're alive in spirit now. That's the beginning of your new life while you're here on earth. That one will know the end and not taste death. You've ended your attachment to the physical body of flesh. It's going to die. You've let go of that now. You're just waiting for it to drop dead or be killed or disease or whatever. However it dies and however painful it might be, it will end and your spiritual body will be free. So you're already at the beginning of your spiritual life here on earth when you wake up and give away all the violence and hatred that comes out of your physical brain mind. You overcome the brain mind. You overcome temptation, satanic temptations, to be a murdering warmonger. You overcome those temptations. You're not going to be a beast of the flesh who murders and kills. You're going to be a spiritual child. Once you do that, you're at the beginning of your new spiritual life. And that's the end of your old dualistic, mortal mind life. That's what he's saying. Very succinct, very beautiful. Author. Jesus gives us a short list of spiritual blessings we will receive by following his spiritual way in this dangerous material world. They are powerful reminders of the heavenly spiritual world that awaits all those who have awakened to become at one with the loving spiritual life force in our spiritual bodies created for us by our loving spiritual creator. All sufferings we undergo in this material world will end at the time of our death experience, when our spiritual body leaves to come into the presence of our loving creator to reap as we have sown. Now when I say all our sufferings in this world end when we die, that's true for children who are going to enter heaven. But they're only going to start beginning for Netanyahu, Putin, the entire Israeli army, the entire Russian army, the entire Hamas murderers, the entire Iranian murderers. Their suffering's just going to begin. So unfortunately for them, they've got it back to front. For those of us going to heaven, hopefully, we won't suffer anymore. That's finished. It's all to do with the flesh. We no longer use the flesh to commit sin, so we're free of sin. We're in a spiritual body of love and non-violence, so we're bringing heaven's love to children now, and we're alive already in spirit. So we just leave the body. It may be very painful and traumatic. I'm not saying it won't be. But once it's finished, once this piece of meat here in the middle of this body stops moving, that's it. I black out. This world folds up. This material universe is gone. I'm moving towards the spiritual creator who created my spiritual body, because my spirit goes back to the source of my spiritual life, which is a spiritual life force, a creator of my spiritual life. But that creator, Jesus tells us, is only love. So am I in love? Am I in love? Am I in love? Then that's all we need, and we can enter that world then. Of course, those who are filled with love will receive only love and an end to all their sufferings, while those who are filled with evil will receive the evil they created and continue to suffer until it is all consumed in the fire of their own burning realisations. I feel very sorry for all these mass murderers. They seem so powerful, don't they, strutting the world stage. Look how many thousands of children I can kill with my bombs. They're going to be on their knees screaming in hell, crying, wailing and gnashing of teeth, Jesus said. Quite an apt description of what these children are going to be going through. No one can help them then, it's too late. They'll have to go through it all. Our loving spiritual creator is only love. We must become as spiritual children of only love on earth. That's just a fact. Jesus said so. I love the way he only talks about love, and Buddha too. When I left the Jewish Christian Catholic Church, I studied Buddhist teaching because I knew Buddhists were pacifists. So I knew Jesus was a pacifist, no lying that he's the child of Yahweh, the only son of Yahweh. We're all children of the loving spiritual creator. Jesus isn't the only child of the loving spiritual creator. It makes no sense. So it's just ridiculous. He's an awakened spiritual child of our loving spiritual creator, and he was the only Jew that we know of that woke up. There maybe John was probably awakening as well to becoming a spiritual child. But yeah, he was maybe the first Jew to become awakened, as Buddha was the first Hindu to become this clear light-mind experience. But they're not the only ones. We all have this potential. We all are potentially children of the loving spiritual creator. So the way the Jewish Christian churches teach it, of course, is, only Jesus can save you. No Buddhists are going to heaven. Muslims aren't going, and atheists, they're certainly not going. And I mean, it's just such slander, such disgusting language to use as a Christian, a follower of Jesus. It's disgusting that they should represent Jesus, these people. It is a disgusting disgrace. And I apologise for all these Jewish Christians. I'm not a Jewish Christian, I'll tell you that now. If you're a Buddhist or a Jew or a Hindu or Baha'i or an atheist, but you are filled with love and non-violence, I hope that I'll see you in heaven. You've got the what you would call the new disposition or the new covenant. That's what Jesus was talking about, the new identity. When he said, his blood's being spilled for the new covenant, he's saying, I'm going to appear to you in my spiritual body. That's the new covenant, the new body, the spiritual body. I'm going to show it to you after they kill my body of flesh. That's what he was saying to the disciples quite literally. They didn't understand him because the Jews had no idea about this. Even Jesus was like newly awakened to it, an enlightened soul, they put it. And he did. He appeared to the disciples in his spiritual body. They thought he was a ghost, a spirit. Well, he was. He was a spirit. He had no wounds in his body. That's all cover-up stuff. The Jews couldn't understand that. They weren't going to follow a spirit, you know. All spirits are in Sheol, in the underworld. They're not going anywhere near a ghost or a spirit. So they had to say, oh no, he had flesh, you know, it's his body. So they hid his body in order to cover that up so the Jews wouldn't be frightened of following him. And also if they said they saw him alive, the Jewish leaders would go to the tomb, find out where it was, unroll it, see Jesus' body rotting away, as it did. Food for the vultures, that's all our bodies are worth at the end of our physical life. Jesus said so. It includes his body as well. If the Jews had discovered his dead body rotting away, they would have said, these disciples of his are all lying. They said they saw him alive. His body's dead. Anyone can go and look at it. It's dead. He's dead. And then they would have destroyed the spiritual teachings of Jesus. No one would have followed the disciples. They would have left them in droves, and that would have been the end of Jesus. We would never have heard about the Good Samaritan parable or the sheep and the goats. I was hungry, you fed me. I was thirsty, you gave me to drink. You know, I was naked, you clothed me. I was a stranger, you took me in. I was sick and you cared for me. We wouldn't have all the Christian charities in the world, helping millions of children everywhere. We wouldn't have that love from heaven coming in. So the disciples had to cover things up a bit. Unfortunately, the Jewish Christians are taking all that literally. They don't even understand what Jesus was saying, really. But they are filled with love, and they do have charities. But they mix the new wine in with the old wine. Oh, dearie me. So I'm just a Christian, so I'm lucky because I can see all that quite easily. You don't lose anything by getting rid of that garbage with that Jewish overlay stuff, ripping up the book of Revelation. You gain a much clearer vision of who you are as a spiritual child of love and non-violence. You'll never join an army, navy or air force ever. You'll become a pacifist child and get ready to die and go to heaven. So that's my goal, and I'm not getting involved in any wars. They can all go to hell because that's where they want to go. So okay, I'm telling them, warning them. So Jesus' way is beautiful, of love and non-violence. If you become a spiritual child, you will find it challenging, because even I've been persecuted and condemned even just for being a Christian and not a Jewish Christian. Jewish Christians have condemned me. Oh dear me. And what did Jesus say? Condemn not, and you'll not be condemned. So what do they do to me? We're condemning you. You're saying the revelation isn't Jesus coming on the clouds. That's blasphemy. I say, no, you're blaspheming Jesus, not me. You're slandering him. Don't you know him? Didn't you read his words? Oh dear. I mean, I laugh about it, but it's tragic, you know, because all the Christian churches, the Jewish Christian churches, are dying, when young people should be inspired to come and meditate on this love that Jesus talked about. It should be a bit more like a Buddhist presentation. Have Jesus' teachings there, as the Buddhists have Buddhist teachings, to guide us how to become like Buddha or like Jesus, and become perfect equanimity and treat everyone the same, be a pacifist. All Christians should be pacifists. So once that's happening, children can key into that. Young people can key into that. And they go, wow, this is really beautiful. But if you start saying, and Jesus is going to come back and throw people into hell, and God's going to throw you into hell too if you don't do what he says, they go, I'm out of here. I don't want anything to do with this God. That's the war God of the Jews. So it's been poisoned. Let's hope the Jewish Christian churches throw the Jewish religion out of the church and give it back to the Jews, and rip out the book of Revelation and make all Christian churches just have the Gospels and get rid of the apocalyptic rubbish in it. You can clearly see that's rubbish. And then you're left just with this pure message of becoming spiritually awakened in your spiritual body now before you die. Well, that's beautiful. That's still supernatural. You still have to have faith and belief in heaven. Nothing changes in that way. But you have a much better focus on how to become love. Your body's going to die, forget about it. In the end, it's gone. Your spiritual body's the one you need to be alive and well with love. And it's only the loving spiritual life force from heaven that empowers your spiritual body. How much of that have you got in you? Okay, love your family, love your friends, love your neighbours, love the homeless on the street. Expand your love until that's all you are. Next chapter is Matthew. I think we'll have to do it in stages though, because it's a big chapter. So it'll be part 1, part 2, part 3, something like that. It's a very long chapter. So I'll cut it up into a few parts. Love your way to heaven or hate your way to hell. Choice is yours. Bye.